But before we get started, make sure to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and punch that notification bell. Welcome to the Vertex. Hey, Warrior. So today we have a very special guest, Mr. Daniel Jackson. And it was great connecting with you, Mr. Jackson. And it's awesome to have you on here today. I'm honored. It's going to be a spectacular Friday. From everything I've been reading about you, it's just mind-blowing. And there's a lot more that I want to know. So just to introduce Mr. Daniel Jackson here, as you see below, he is a spirit medium. And you can find out more about him and what he does at beyond-the-veil.com, beyondtheveil.com. So, Mr. Jackson, how are you doing today, sir? Tonight.
I'd be better if you'd stop calling me Mr. Jackson.
Daniel? Is Daniel better?
Daniel, Dan, either or. Don't call me Danny because it makes me feel like I'm 7.
Dan.
Dan's good.
What's up, Dan?
I'm good. How are you?
Welcome to the Vertex.
Oh, thanks for having me. Oh,
yes,
I think my camera went a little.
That happens to your camera too?
Yeah, but might be a little bit different reason. That's why. I'll try to get it back here.
Sure.
There we go.
So Daniel, before we start the whole introduction stuff, there's one question I have to ask because it's the question that I've had a lot of my life. My wife has had that question. Some of my friends that have had the question.
Sure.
What does it mean when you see the same number over and over again? Whether it's on your, on your clock, on a receipt, on anything digital. There's a lot of people who say, I keep seeing this number 1234, 11134. Different numbers. Is there something to decipher there?
Absolutely. You are getting what's called an angel number, meaning Spirit is letting you know that you are on the correct path. And the way that they are doing that is just like with spirit guides, they are connecting with you. They're connecting with your soul, which gets your body to turn around and see and hear and feel things. Because it's not like magic. It's not your brain. Your brain's not doing that. Your brain just makes the little parts work. Your brain doesn't hold the memories. None of that. That's all bull crap. What science says. It's your soul that it collects all the memories, because when you pass away, you'll actually get all the memories back from your lifetime here, plus all the other memories from all the other lifetimes, and I'll explain that as well. But they're connecting with your soul, which gets your body to turn around and do things. And when you're seeing these numbers, that means they're getting you to turn around and notice these numbers to let you know that you are on the correct path. If you see the numbers 222, 333, 1111, 1212, and you see them frequently, they're letting you know that you are on the correct path.
The number I've seen all my life, I'd say since middle school, it's 1134, which was kind of scary at the beginning. You flip it over and it's like it spells hell.
Man, God did not create words. God gave us an ability to make sound with this voice box. Man created words. So in God's eyes, you can say any word that you want to that begins with the letter F that doesn't sound like fire truck, and he doesn't care. What he doesn't want us to do is to turn around and use that on someone, meaning putting negative energy on somebody. And that's what you would be doing at that point. You're putting negative energy, anger on somebody, causing them to be in fear. That's what you're doing. And he doesn't want us to do that to each other. But you can say any word that you want to, hell or anything. Hell is not a real place. Hell does not exist. Hell exists only to those who are trying to keep control and power over you and telling you how to live your life the way they want you to live it, and give them 10% at the same time, because somehow back then they knew about 10%.
10%, and that 10% is a lot bigger now than back in the days.
Yeah. The people who came up with these ideas were the kings and queens, the people who were in control of everybody. They were the ones who created all these things we call, brought to you by religion, and that book they tell you about. That's all created by kings and queens. And what's funny? There's other things out there that were created by kings and queens, like if you're going to court. And you look at these laws, there are all these laws have these thous and thys and all this stuff. It's all from back to ages of kings and queens, as well as, the world right now is protesting everything in this world, but they're not protesting one really thing that's out in the open that has to do with all that. And that's the Olympics, because the Olympics were games that were created by kings and queens for slaves to fight. And they wanted these slaves to win their freedom out of this. And we still carry on these games over and over again for thousands of years. And why? Because those are the ones who have control and power over us.
And from the looks of it, it's not stopping. So
no, it's not going away anytime soon. Well, until we stand up and take the power back.
Right. Which that's what we're having a hard time right now with everybody.
Well, do you think that thing at the Capitol was a chance? That was a trial run.
I see. I can see what you mean there. Yep.
Yeah. They were just seeing what they could get away with.
Yeah. And now we see, right? We see exactly what occurred there, or how many people are getting slapped around with charges and stuff now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So now looking back at the numbers thing, I believe then exactly that's the same position I'm in, because before, when I would see the same number over and over, and I was like, what's going on, right? But now I started interpreting as, it just lets me know, like, you're doing the right thing, you're on the right path, don't worry,
you're aware.
I became aware, I guess. Yeah,
absolutely. And every time that you see it, you're becoming aware of that, and it's making you think more, which is exactly what they want you to do.
Great. Who's they?
They are what we would call spirit. They are what we would call archangels. They are what we would call spiritual guides. They are everyone. All is one, one is all. That includes the hierarchy of spirit, which is God, archangels, what archangels call lesser angels. They're just called that because they have lesser responsibility. You have spirit guides, general spirit, us, because our spirit is connected to this meat suit. And then you have lower negative energy spirit.
So lower energy spirit, would that be like just souls roaming around, or?
Yes, because of the realm that they are in. Now, they just have a lower, it's hard for them where they are at in that earthbound spirit realm. There is not as much energy there as there is, per se, what we would call going into the light. So like when you look at your wall to your left, what color is your wall?
This wall?
Yeah.
Well, it's beige color. Yeah, it's actually the same color as your wall.
To you it is. To me it's not. When I look at that wall, I see that wall, it's beige and blue. I see a natural mist haze in my regular vision all the time. And that's the color of energy. And when they are over there in that realm, that's what the color is, kind of floating around there. Plus, it's also it's very black there. So when I see spirit over there in that realm, if I were to look at one, because I see more than one all day long, if I was looking at one and say it was like you, and I was looking at you, your whole complexion, everything about you would be the color blue, everything.
So you would be able to differentiate a burglar breaking into your home versus spirit. You would be able to tell the difference by the color, the appearance.
Yeah, because they are all still a little bit transparent. Now that's those ones there, like it's like looking at someone with a black and white tattoo where they have the black ink on their skin, and then the rest of their skin takes up the rest of the background of the picture, So and when I see them, they are blue, but the rest of the black background that's there takes up the rest of them. But when I see a spirit right away, as soon as I see them, I get a quick flash that fast, and I can tell you what color hair they got, what they're wearing, what color eyes there are, all of that stuff. I can tell you what nationality they are, everything. I get it that fast. It's enough to get it, because anytime you see something real quick, just go, oh man, I just saw a blue card. Well, that's how fast I see it as well. But it comes through real quick as a flash. I can tell you who they are, what they are, all that. It's like that's those who have not crossed over. The ones who have crossed over, I can guarantee Everybody has seen one of those. You may
Really?
not know it, but yeah, you may be in a crowd of people one day and you turn around and you see somebody and they look back at you and they smile and you're like, oh, and then you turn back around for a second, you look back and they're gone. You just saw someone who had crossed over and they like to come back and visit and they can materialize and they look like this. They're a little bit different. They're a little tiny bit transparent, but I can tell the difference of them. But yeah,
Wow. So there's those that have crossed over that visit, and then there's those who are just here in another realm. Is that what that
yes,
is?
they're just here because they decided to not cross over into the light. And that's all they are. And some of them, there are some of them there who are very negative. I see them as well. They are red. So they are glowing red at that point.
So there is still bad energy, in other words, right?
Absolutely. I'm not saying there's no such thing as a devil. There's no such thing as demons. There's no such thing as yeah, all these, but there are negative energies. Now the thing about positive energies and negative energies, they are pure energy and they can read your mind, they can read your thoughts because that's how they communicate, because that's how we all originally
Like
communicate, but now
telepathy.
we have a voice box, right? So like when you hear voices in your head, you may be hearing it from the spirit. And sometimes we hear them come into our head. We listen to what they say and then we follow through with it. And some of those things are good and some of those things are not so good. But yes, if they can come in and they can read what's going on in your thoughts. So say if they take an ashtray and they throw it across the floor, because they can do things. And when they do that, it scares the crap out of you. And then you think to yourself, because you've seen all these movies, oh my God, I got a demon in my house. And then when you think that, because society put that thought into your mind of what a demon looks like, you think about that in your mind now. Now they can pick up on what you're thinking. They see that picture. And then if they want to come through completely, totally into this realm, they can come through, manipulate themselves to look like what you're thinking, which scares the crap out of you, which in turn makes negative energy, fear come out of you, which in turn they feed off of, and then they will stick around you and feed off of that and continuously cause this issue between you and it. So it will constantly be able to feed off of that negative energy.
Sounds kind of like manifesting, right? Like manifesting that energy to look some way, and
Right.
like giving it the ability to look
Yes,
that way.
you're because when you give it the idea of thinking of something in your head, you're giving it the ability to or the idea also to change itself to look like something else. Because yeah, I see them all the time. Because my main ability is I cross spirit over into the light, so I see them all the time, and and when I see them, they look at me, they give me dirty looks, and I go, yeah, I know, I've seen your scary faces, whatever, and it doesn't bother me because none of them can touch me. I'm not saying that for anyone else. I'm just saying that for me. I can go into absolutely any what you would call haunted house, scary house, anything, any place, anywhere on the face of this earth. I can walk in and nothing can touch me. For the reason for that I cross spirit over into the light, I have what my spirit guides are what we would consider archangels. They aren't men with wings because they don't have wings. They don't look like men. Most of them don't even look human. I know a few of them that do, and I know a lot of them that look humanoid, but they're not human. But because I cross spirit over into the light, because that's what they want me to do, they protect me from all negative energies. When I'm about to go to sleep at night and I'm laying in bed, the first thing I see above me are two eyes. And each one of those eyes is about this big around and they're in front of me. And all I see the eyes doing is doing this. They go,
Hmm.
and they're just looking around. And what they are doing is they are looking for any negative energies that are around me. And if they see one, they get rid of it. And the way that they get rid of it, I see it all the time. I see these big globs of white light just come out of nowhere, and this red thing will be over here, and it just goes and attacks it, and then another one comes and attacks it, and it pushes it down. Because I always tell them when I see these negative ones, I say, "You guys just need to go away, because if you don't, I'm going to get my friends here to mojo your ass out of here." And they just sit down and they go, ah, and I go, "I know you're a negative energy. You're not going to stop giving up because you think you're going to get some energy from me, but you're not, because I don't work for you. I work for the big guy." So. So go away. They don't go away. And then I call them and I say, hey, can you guys get rid of this thing? And next, here comes the big globs of white energy. Boom, boom. And the things go, they get all angry at me. And I go, yeah, I don't care if you're angry at me. Just go away. And then they push this away and then it's gone.
So when it comes to negative energy, is that something that could be transferred? Like for me, I'm the kind of guy who's always tries to be positive. I see the good things out of life. I try to carry
Sure.
myself that way, and I try to give that to other people who are around me. Um, I mean, at the same time, somebody who's as positive as I am, I have to stay away from the negative people because
Right.
I realize they suck up the energy like a
Oh,
battery. You know, they drain you
yeah.
literally.
Yeah, they suck you dry, don't they? Yeah. Yeah, well,
So
that's what they do because they are negative people. There are negative people in this world. We know them. They like to gossip about everybody, or they're just a piece of crap talking around telling everybody how horrible you are. That's just what they are. But everything they do, people who are alive, who are like that, they do that by their own choice. That is their choice to do. Just like everything you do in your life is your own choice. Ultimately, you're the one that's going to make the choice what you're going to do next, and people decide to do that. And what happens with them is when it's time for them to pass away and they see that light, they go, nah, I don't want to go in there because when they're here and they are a negative person, they like that sense of power it gives them. They feel they have something over other people. And when it's time for them to leave, a lot of times they feel like they want to hold on to that, so they don't go into the light. They remain here as an earthbound spirit and they remain a negative energy. But then they figure out very quickly that in that realm, there's not a lot of energy around. I see it. It flows like bands in there, like rivers, little rivers. And I see them walk up and they do this. They walk up real quick and then they cock their head back and they shut their eyes. And it looks like they go into a dream state. And then they come out of it and they're like, whew, and then they're okay. But the negative ones need more than that because it takes more energy, as we know, to be angry. So they have to have more of that to stay angry, to stay that powerful, and that's where they are. So they collect some of that from the other energies that are out there because not everybody there is completely negative. They just chose not to go into the light for many reasons. For say they thought that they were going to be judged or they were going to hell, or they just thought they were a bad person, or someone told them they're a bad person enough times. They said, I can't go in there. I'm going to be judged and all that. Or there's another reason they think they haven't. They are aware of the fact that they may have to come back again and they don't want to have to do that, so they will stay there. I have a girl that lives in my house here. Her name is Wendy. She's about 8 years old, and she's aware of the fact that she may have to go back and actually have to come back into another life, and she doesn't want to do that, so she stays here.
wow. So
Hangs out.
when's the last time you saw a spirit?
I don't never not see spirit.
Like it's always on.
It's always on. I see them right now. If I want to stare at if I stare into the camera, I'm looking at my wall behind me. There's a guy in there, sort of bald. He's got hair on the side of his head. Tells me his name is Joseph.
So what do they do hanging out there, man? Are they there for a reason?
Yeah, they just decided not to go into the light. That's it. That's the only reason. They just decided not to go into the light. And they are comfortable where they are.
But they would stick around there right now. They stick around where you are. Not
They're
because it's a
They're around
haunted
you.
place, right?
They are around you right now.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure of that.
Yeah, everywhere you go, no matter where you go, no matter what you do.
Oh, okay.
When you wake up in the morning, you do your daily routine, you shit, shower, and shave, and then you get ready for work, and you go to work, and you do your job, or maybe not do your job. Not everybody does because nobody gives a shit. And then you come home from work, and you hang out with your family and watch some TV and eat some dinner and go to sleep and wake up and do it all over again. Spirit is around you 24/7, no matter where you go. It's like that song from the 80s, you know. I always feel like somebody's watching. They are watching you, but do they care about what you do? No. Why? Because they don't have to do it anymore. They don't sleep. They don't eat. They don't breathe. They don't take a crap. They don't throw up. They don't do none of that stuff. They don't pay bills. They just are. And that's what same thing. When you pass away, you will just be. You just are, and that's it. There is no well, I got to slow down because I got to do something at 3 o'clock. There is no 3 o'clock because there's no space and time there. You just go and go and go. There's no looking forward to something.
That,
You just go.
that's a real definition of a being, because
Yes.
all you are is being.
Yes, you are being. You are pure energy at that point. You can manipulate yourself to look differently. A lot of spirit that I see, especially the ones who come through from what we call heaven, they will manipulate themselves to look like what you remembered they look like because they don't look like that anymore. And same. But the ones who are earthbound, whatever age you die, and if you don't cross over, you remain that age there. So if you died at 79 years old and you didn't cross over into the light and you just stayed there, you would still be 79 years old.
And
If
okay,
if you go into the light, if you die over the age of 30 years old, you would go back to being what we would consider 30 years old. Or if you were under the age of 30 years old, you would eventually grow up to that age. And that 30 years old is it's not really an age. It's just, that's when you're at your best. That's what
at the
you're,
prime.
yeah, the prime has to do with Jesus and all that.
I see. So Daniel, tell us a little bit about how your childhood. When you, let's not. I don't want to say when you discovered what you could do with what you have, with the power you have. But
Um, I didn't discover I could do any of that stuff until I was right before I was 50. It was before I was when I was around 3 or 4 years old is when my furthest memory back seeing spirit. But my whole family saw them. We lived in a town in New Jersey, and it was right next to the Delaware River, and there was a battlefield there where the Hessians fought, and there was a little hospital on there. So all the homes in that area all had spirit going on, and in my house, there were three of them living there. It was two men and a woman, and there was one time like my sister was getting ready for school, and my mom was helping her out, and they were in the bathroom, and then when they looked in the mirror, in this full length mirror on the door, there was another woman standing in the mirror. She had on a colonial outfit.
wow.
There was ashtrays moving, glasses moving. There's one I remember a few times when my brothers and I would be downstairs watching TV, and this is back in the 70s. My sister had a record player, so with a record player, you have to lift the record up, put it on the post, and then you hit that switch, and it would drop it down. So we'd be watching TV downstairs, and then her record player would turn on upstairs. But that's not the tricky part. The tricky part was it would switch records. So
Wow.
whatever was there was picking records up and putting another record on.
Could have been a past DJ or something, huh?
Yeah, well, no, because it was playing Aerosmith and Three Dog Night and Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, but
Well, at this point, it was playing anything to get your attention.
yes, it was doing anything to get our attention. And these were not what we would call negative energies, that's for sure. They would look out for us. I remember there was a time when my dad fell asleep in bed one time smoking a cigarette, and he had a comforter on, a blanket on, the top sheet, and then he was underneath that, and it burned a hole all the way through each one of those, all the way through his t-shirt, and then a hole around on the bed itself he was laying in, and he had a big hairy chest, and nothing happened to him. Nothing.
Wow. How does
So
that happen?
yeah, I know, right? So there was later on when I was 17, and I moved down to Delaware, where I'm at now with my mom and dad, and my brother owned the house, and he had some friends come to the house, and then out in the front of the house was this big picture window. So they went to visit him, and they're knocking on the door, and he wasn't answering the door. So they look in the mirror or in the window, and they see people walking around. And then they knock on the door, nobody comes. They called him up and they said, "Hey, are you going to come answer the door? We're here at the front door." And he said, "I'm not home, but we're on the way on a camping trip."
Oh,
So who's walking around the house?
right.
Yeah. So well, we're down here in Delaware. I was the only one to continue to see things. My mom and dad were not seeing anything. So, and I was seeing everything. I was playing in a band back in the 80s, so I had big hair. I mean, big hair. I had zebra stripe spandex. It was pretty crazy to see. I came home from a gig one time and I laid down in bed, and then something laid down next to me, And it did this like 3 or 4 times. The pillow would squish down, everything. And I was like, man, what's going on? And I rolled over to see what it was really going on. And when I did, whatever was there, picked up the blanket I had on top of me and brought it up to the ceiling and shook it over top of me. And then it dropped it on me. And then after that, I slept on the couch for 2 years because I was scared shitless. But, you get used to these times. But that was really something really got me attention. Did it threaten to kill me? No, it didn't do any of that thing. But it did really get my attention. There was a time my grandfather was staying with us, and he went to visit my uncle, and I was hanging out in his room, and my sister was down. She had this animal called a ferret, and
Yeah.
it was making a bunch of noise in the room, and it kept making noise, and I was laying on his bed, and it kept making the squeaking noise, and then one time it made the squeaking noise, and I sat up to see what it was doing, and when I did, his rocking chair was rocking back and forth, and in that chair was my grandmother, who had passed away 2 years prior to that.
So you were
And
able to see grandmother
yeah, she
rocking
turned
chair.
right around and looked at me, and her face got like that, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And all of a sudden, she disappeared. I was like, "Whoa!"
She was just as surprised as you were to
Oh,
know.
absolutely, absolutely. There was one time when my girlfriend and we were watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and she was at the foot of the bed, and I was at the other end, and then something about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 feet thick, and about 5 or 6 feet long, snaked its way out of my closet all the way across the room, got in front of the TV, past the TV, and it just disappeared. And I was like, and my girlfriend turned around. She said, "Did you see that?" I was like, "Yeah, let's get the heck out of here. This is crazy." So I've seen things like that. I've seen the shadows like coming into my bedroom and just walk in, or I see them outside the door, standing outside the door, looking at me, all kinds of stuff, all the way into my 30s. I had an issue with my diabetes, and I ended up getting my big toe removed from my foot. So I only have 9 toes now. So if somebody says, "Hey, can you wish me luck?" I'll say, "Yeah, I'll cross all 9 of my toes," but not really. And so I was at the mall with my then wife, my first wife, and I had this boot on because I had to walk around with this boot to heal up. So we go into, I said, I got to go to the bathroom because this thing's wearing me out. So I go to the bathroom. She waits outside for me. I go in, there's nobody in there. I go in the stall, I sit down, and then I hear a voice that says, "Everything will be okay, my son." And I was like, I stood up and stood out and looked around that stall, and I was like, what the? There's nobody in there. I pulled my pants up. Because hadn't even gone to the bathroom, and I went out the door, and I said to my wife, I said, "Somebody just come out of this door," because she was standing right there. She said,
Right.
"No." I said, "So nobody came out?" She said, "No." I said, "Did anybody go in?" She said, "No, just you." I said, "Holy shit." She's like, "What?" I said, "I heard a voice in there." And I told her what it said. She's like, "Yeah, nobody came out of there." I've
Wow.
heard that voice 3 separate times. There was another time I was riding home from my motorcycle from my job, listen to my MP3 player,
Uh-huh.
and it sounded like the MP3 player did like tape machine. It went slowed down, and then again I heard, "Everything is going to be okay, my son," and all of a sudden it went. The music went back on. I was like, "What the?" I pulled over, and when I got home, I listened to those songs over and over and over again to see if it would come through. Nah, it just never came through.
Wow.
And then it came again one more time, and it said, "Your life is about to change," and that was right before all this other stuff came on, and that was right before I was turning 50. And that was I was playing a CD in my car, and it said, "Your life is about," but it was a woman's voice this time. It said, "Your life is about," but it said, "Your life is about to change, Daniel." And then it went, and everything went back, and I was like, "What?
How'd she
What?
know my name?
How the fuck did that know my name? What the hell is going on here?" And I kept playing that CD over and over again.
Nothing.
So so this was around the time when really crazy stuff started happening. My wife went away on vacation for 2 weeks to visit her daughter. And while she was away on vacation, I saw everything imaginable that you could think was scary.
Wow.
I was down in the basement and I saw this wall of blackness appear because my cat was down there. I was trying to get him to come upstairs. And I said, come on, buddy. And this wall, he looked to his right. I looked to my left and this wall of blackness appeared. And then this man walked out of it. He had a big wide rim black hat on, a long black coat. I could see his facial features. I couldn't see his eyes. And he walked across the floor. And I just did this. I went and watched it. And he went across the floor and he went right through the wall. But the strange part was he didn't have any feet. And I was like, that's weird. And then when I turned back, the wall just went closed up. I got my cat. I said, let's go. Brought him upstairs. I was seeing 7-foot skeletons walk around the house. I was in bed one time and saw this cloud appear above the bed and the wall, like blackness in it. And I saw this skeleton arm come through and another one come through. And then it pulled the body all the way through. And then the face was staring at me. It had bigger eye sockets, a bigger mouth. And it was just doing one of these things, looking around the room. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then it eventually moved above me and then it moved behind me and then it disappeared. And I was like, man. And then each night I saw this cloud come out of the corner of the room and it would come out real slow. And each time it came out, I had this feeling of a presence of a woman. But each time it came out, it was a different color. It came out red. It came out blue, green, yellow, orange, black, gray. Came out blue with black stripes, red with black stripes, orange with black stripes, green with black stripes. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I was seeing green and red mist pouring out of the walls and these little creatures coming out of the walls. I saw skulls floating out of the walls and they all had red eyes and fangs. I was like, man, what is going on? And this was, it was getting to the point where I would keep my cat in the bed with me because I was like, it was freaking me out so much. I was like, this is crazy stuff. My wife comes back from her trip. She tells me about her adventures. I tell her about mine.
I can imagine the differences.
Yeah, well, she's a nurse, and she figured because I'm diabetic, maybe that my medicine I was taking had some type of psychosis going on with me. Until 3 days after she was back, then she started seeing the same things.
So do you think that you being around has opened the ability for her to see?
Well, we found out after I found out I was this, we found out through channeling a message that she's also an empath.
Oh, I see.
So she picks up on things as well. We found out through those channeling messages that we were actually put together, and this is not the first time. Out of my lifetime, she's been with me like 13 times.
And previously, previous to you finding this out, right? What you could do with your sixth sense. What did you think, man, at that time when you're seeing all these things? What do you think, man? I would be
scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I was brought up Catholic, so of course I was scared. I was like, we were doing everything, we were checking out everything on the internet, and we were putting salt around the room, and you know what that does? It makes your room salty. That's all it does. And we were putting crosses up everywhere, and I was seeking out people, and they were telling me I was going into all the like forums and stuff, and they're saying say prayers and all this stuff. And so I was seeking out help, and I sought out mediums. I sought out paranormal groups. I had a paranormal group come to the house, and when they came to the house, their van showed up, and they had this little insignia on their van, and all I could think of was, I don't want to be this kind of famous, because the people are good, who live next to me are going to think that poltergeist is going on in the home next to them, and unknowingly to them, it is, and it still goes on to this day. They just don't know. Wow. But they came. It was 4 people. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 people. They came. They set up all this equipment. They had these little boxes with wires sticking off of them and little lights. And I said, "What's the deal with that?" And he said, "Well, spirit put off static electricity." And I was like, "Okay." I'm letting my cat out, and he's big. He's 20 pounds, and And he said he rubs his hand on the couch, and then he goes, puts his hand over it, and it goes, and they light up. And I was like, oh, okay. And they had a video camera. The one girl was taking digital photos. The video camera guy, this guy was setting up the equipment, and another guy was just walking around asking questions. So they said they wanted to do this at nighttime, and I said, all right. And said, so where do you have a lot of activity going on? And I'm talking to them, and the girl's sitting there taking pictures. And I said, a lot of it goes on in the bedroom. Let's go in there. So I walk through the bedroom, and when I walk through past all those boxes, they all go and they all light up. And I'm like, what the hell?
So those boxes
they're like, on the other side of it.
Those boxes are saying like they're basically lighting up energy.
Yes, because they're saying there's spirit around. But it was when I walked through, and I was like, and I said to him, I thought you said this is when spirit, and he goes, well, it is. I said, what's the deal with me? He's like, I don't know. We'll walk through. We'll see what happens. I said, okay. They walked through, nothing.
Like they were trying it. They were trying to walk through it just to make sure there was no like malfunctioning or
right. So we go in the bedroom. We're talking. One guy says, I feel drawn to that closet there. I said, well, it's a big closet. We can go in there. It's a walk-in closet. We walk in, and I'm standing there with him, and he says, man, I got to get out of here. I'm getting sick. I said, you claustrophobic? He goes, no. And he gets out of there, and he's like, and like 10 seconds goes by, and he goes, oh, I'm better. He goes, I think I'm okay now, Mr. Jackson. I said, all right, you want to try it again? He walks in. Within a couple seconds, he's like, oh, no. I was like, I said, get out. And he gets out of the closet. All of a sudden,
he's better.
I'm okay. I'm like, he's like, how come it's not affecting you? I said, I don't know.
They're the professionals.
Yeah, you're the professionals. You tell me. So we said, okay, let's go out. We go out of the bedroom. I walk out of the room. They all light up again. I'm looking back at them. They're looking at me. I'm like, they walk through, nothing. Every room that I walk into, they lit up like a Christmas tree. Wow. They wanted to go down in the basement. And I said, okay, let's go down there. And we walk around. And they're talking to my wife, and I'm talking to one guy. And I'm standing there, and next to the wall is this big mirror. It's still down there. And I'm standing in front of the mirror, and I'm talking to this guy. And I go to walk away, and he goes, can you come back here, Mr. Jackson? I said, sure, what's up? He goes, stand right here, right in front of me. I said, okay. I'm looking at him like this, and he goes, can you turn around and look at the mirror? And I said, all right. And I turn around. When I do, the mirror is vibrating. It just vibrating.
Had it done that before that?
I don't know. I never paid attention to it. I just didn't. He says, now walk away. I walk away, and it went, and it stopped. And I was like, huh. He says, walk back over again. I walk over, starts vibrating again. And he was like, man, I've never seen anything like that before. I'm saying, yeah, me either. So I said, do you have any activity back there? I said, yeah, they talk in there sometimes. And he said, what do you mean talk? He said, well, I can hear them talking in there. So I hear them. And then he said, what do you mean you hear them? I said, oh, I hear them talking. I hear them. It's not easy to hear, but it sounds like they're whispering. And he said, did you say anything back to him? I said, yeah, I told him I could hear him. And he said, what happened after that? I said, they whispered back to me, or they were whispering to each other. And I heard one of them say, he can hear us.
Wow.
And I was like, and he's like, wow. I said, let's go in there. So we go in there. It's a dark room, one little light bulb. My wife's over there by the light switch. And they said, turn that light off. We're going to turn all of our equipment off. We want to see if we can do an experiment here. I said, okay. She turns it off. They turn everything off. And they said, is there anybody in here? And then you hear this above us from the ceiling. And the ceiling is it's unfinished part of the basement.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, anybody touch anything? Nope. No. Okay. Let me try it again. Is there anybody here? And you hear that. And I'm going, and then all of a sudden, right after that, you see a light turn on from the floor. Look, like a light bulb just went turned on, turned off. And then you hear one of the guy goes, somebody turned something on? No, I didn't turn anything on. And you can't see anybody in there because it's so dark. And he said, Mr. Jackson, turn your lights on the floor. And I said, you're standing on carpet. No, there's no lights on the floor. My wife turns the switch on. They're all looking down. There's nothing there. And they're like, where the hell did that come from? I said, where the hell does any of it come from? I don't know. You're the expert. You tell me. So we go upstairs. We walk around, and they said, we want to do an experiment. We want to see how much they're actually talking. And I said, okay. And they said, we got the EVP thing going the whole time, but we have this thing called the spirit box. We call it an ovulus. I said, all right. He said, it's a machine that when energy goes into it, it'll spit out words. And I said, okay. I said, what do you want me to do with it? He said, I want you to go in the bedroom and I want you to pretend you're going to sleep. We're going to come in with it and turn it on. See what happens.
Wow.
I said, okay. I go in, I lay down. They come in 10 minutes later. I hear click, and they turn it on. They put it down. And then all of a sudden, it starts spitting out words. It said, Wendy, Paul, Michael, Helen. It said the word road one time, like a street. It said road. And when it said that, a car went right past my house. And I was like, no way.
Like what? Connections, right?
Right. I was like, that was crazy. Then it said energy, light, special, unique. And I was like, what's going on here? I'm just laying there. And then they asked it a bunch of questions. And they asked questions for 10 minutes. And every question they asked, it answered it right on as soon as they had done the question. One of the questions they asked was, are you here to harm Daniel? And it came right out and it said, we are not here to harm Daniel. We love Daniel. We love Daniel's energy. Daniel is the light. And I was like, Daniel is the light? What the hell is that supposed to mean? And then when they got done this conversation with it, after about 10 minutes, they leave, they go out of the room. I get up, I go out of the room, and my wife's standing there and they're all huddled up. And I said, what's going on? She's like, I don't know. They're talking about something. So they get done, they turn around, and I said, did you guys get that? That was pretty awesome, right? And they said, well, there's an issue, Mr. Jackson. And I said, what do you mean there's an issue? I said, you got plenty of, it was talking for 10 minutes. You got plenty of evidence, right? I mean, you heard that, didn't you? And he said, yeah, we heard it. He said, but there's an issue. I said, what's the issue? He says, whenever we use it, we can get it to spit out a few words here and there. I said, okay. He said, it never says sentences.
That's a whole different level.
Yeah. And I said, okay, well, you got sentences. And he said, yeah, but it never says sentences. We got to figure this out. I said, well, it didn't sound like it was anything bad. He goes, no, it didn't. But that was an intelligent conversation there. We asked it a question. It answered it every single time. We could hear it out here from the two investigators out there. We could hear it. We were all silent out here because of what was going on in there. And then I was like, okay. And they said, you got to see this, Mr. Jackson. This girl had the camera and she was taking pictures. I said, usually we don't show this until the big reveal, but you got to see this now. And then we'll come with a big reveal. I said, what's going on? He said, well, this is a picture of you. This is a picture of John standing here, and there's nothing. Then there's a picture of you standing next to John. And I was like, well, what's that all around me? He said, that's light orbs. I said, there's like 15 or 20 of them. He said, yeah. He said, every picture with you, you have light orbs completely surrounding you. If you're standing next to somebody, they're standing around you. If we just take a picture of them by themselves, there's nothing. I was like, okay, what's that mean? He goes, we don't know. He said, we see them once in a while, but not that many. He said, that's crazy.
And just around you.
Just around me. And I was like, not even around my wife, all around me. So they said, we'll be back in a couple of weeks. He gives me a bottle of water. I said, what am I supposed to do with that? He said, well, that's holy water. You just spray it if you have a problem. He said, I'm going to give you a couple prayers to say. Here's some websites. You play these on YouTube. It'll constantly play prayers. and keep your do you have a Bible? I'll give you a Bible. I have cross. Yeah, I have a cross here. We bought a cross, and just keep doing that. We'll get a hold of you. We'll let you know at the big reveal. Okay. 2 weeks goes by. 3 weeks goes by. 6 weeks goes by. Nothing. I finally get a hold of them. I said, so when are you guys coming back to do the big reveal? He said, we're not.
Why?
I said,
Wow.
what do you mean you're not? He said, I can't get the team to come back together to come to your house. And I said, why not? He said, well, because when we left your house, when we got onto your front lawn, they all quit.
Wow.
And I was like, what do you mean they quit? He said, they don't want to come back into your house. They're too scared to come back into your house. I was like, okay, well, what about you? Can you come back? He said, I don't feel comfortable coming into your house. I said, why not? He said, Mr. Jackson, I got to be honest with you. He said, when we get information, we get a little bit here and there. He said, but as much information we got from your house, it takes us 10 or 15 homes to get all that information. It's
Wow.
not just one. I was like, all right, well, what do I do? He said, I really don't know what to tell you to do. I said, you're the professionals. You're supposed to be helping people. You're not helping me. I said, maybe you want to get out of this business. He said, well, we're not doing the team anymore because no one will join. He goes, and I got some other issues with family. He said, I don't want to do this either. I said, okay. So what I did is I sought out like 5 mediums, more than that actually, but got a hold of 5 because they're busy people, I guess. And so am I. I met one of them, and I talked to these others, and they helped me a little bit. But this one, she said she does these shows, and she wanted me to come because for some reason, she wanted me to see how she does things. And I didn't understand what she meant by that. So my wife and I got some tickets. I didn't tell her when I was coming, and we just showed up. I walk in the door, and when I walked in, she's down there talking to some people, and she turns around and does this and watches me walk in the room, watches me sit down, and stares at me for a moment. And then she goes back to talking to the people. I didn't tell her I was coming.
She knew there was something.
So there's about 50 people there. 8 people got read that night. I was the second one. She said Spirit would come in and tell her something, and then if she would say it out loud, and if it resonated with anybody, to put your hand up. So we did that, and by the second one, she said the first one that came in, there was another one that came in, was trying to butt in line kind of type thing. And she said, I keep having to tell him to sit back because he's got some information, but I have to tell him he's got to wait his turn. So he said, okay. She said, I'm going to let this guy come up. And he comes in, and she said, he's telling me his name is Robert, but he goes by Bob. He's showing me white T-shirts and flannel shirts, and sometimes a business suit as well. He's also showing me a school bus, what looks like somebody wearing a stethoscope, looks like a doctor, and then what looks like prison bars. And I go, I think that's me. And she said, who is that? I said, it sounds like my dad. My dad's name is Robert, but he goes by Bob, wears white T-shirts all the time, wears flannel shirts all the time, but wears a business suit when he would go to work. I said, but the other part is it's the other part. I said, the school bus, I just went back to school for medical records, and now I work in a prison.
Whoa, that all connected quickly.
And then she starts reading everything, and then one of the things she said was that really struck me was, she said, I'm being shown your dad passed away because he fell down. I said, yeah, he died from blunt force trauma. He was in a basement. He was coming up some stairs and he fell down, and it moved his brainstem. She said, who is Sarah? And I said, Sarah, I have a niece named Sarah. She said, no, Sarah, who made the big decision to let your dad go. And I said, oh, that's my mom. My mom's middle name is Sarah. She's the one that had to make the big decision to pull the plug. That's who Sarah is.
Wow.
So at the end of the night, I waited till everybody was kind of leaving, and then I walked down there and I introduced myself, and she just kind of looked at me. I said, hi, my name's Daniel Jackson. And she's like, oh, you're the one I talked to on the phone a couple of weeks. I said, yes. She said, I didn't know you were coming. She said, I saw you walk in the door. I said, what do you mean by that? She said, when you walked in, she said, I see you like spirit sees you, because that's the way that I see them.
Oh wow.
And I said, okay, what do you mean? She said, when you walked in, when spirit sees you, when spirit sees your you, like when they look at you, like they don't look at me the same way, but when they look at you, they see your body frame and then they see a light inside of you, and that's your actual soul. They see that inside of you. She said, when I see you and they see you, they don't see your body whatsoever. All they see is a super bright white light. You look like a ball of light. They don't even see your body. They can't even really tell what you are. And I said, okay, what's that mean? She said, you're like a beacon of light and they're coming to you like a moth to a flame. She said, you see a lot of spirit, you hear them, you feel them, you get all that. I said, yes, I do. She said, but the reason you're seeing so many is because they're coming to you. And I said, why are they coming to me? She says, because they think you're the light into heaven. And that's why they come to you. You glow from a distance. They can see you from what we would consider thousands of miles away. And I was like, that much? She said, oh, yeah. She said, you're the brightest one I've ever seen. And she said, I've been doing this for 20 years. I was like, okay. And I said, what do I do at this point? She said, well, you got to make a decision here. I said, what kind of decision? She said, you need to have a sit down with God, talk with him, and decide what you're going to do with this. Because she said, I know you're seeing a lot of them. I said, yeah, it's like being in a room with 1,000 people, except nobody leaves and more of them just keep coming in. I see that many in a day. And she said, yeah, it's just, you don't see them just daytime, you see them at nighttime too. I said, I see them all the time. She said, you need to make this decision, Daniel. She said, this is very important. She says, I think they're doing all this stuff to you to test you, to see what you're going to do next. And I said, test me. She said, yeah, if you're going to move forward with this ability or you're going to push it away. And I said, all right, well, she said, I know you don't want it to go away. I said, no, it's part of my life. I said, it's always been that way. I don't like the scary stuff, but I get it. She said, well, it's up to you. You have to decide. And I said, all right. She said, if you decide one yes, she said, things will change for you. And or they'll also say change for you and no, it'll just go away. I said, okay. So we left, went home. My wife and I talked about it, and she said, what do you want to do? I said, I'm just going to go in there and say yes. I mean, if I could help people with this, if I could help those whatever they are coming to me, I'll help them. I'll do whatever I have to do.
What a huge step.
Yeah, what's that?
I said, what a huge step and
Right. I mean,
decision.
what an undertaking to do. So I went in the bedroom and I sat down and I talked to God because anybody can talk to God anytime they want to. You don't need to go to some big white building with a bunch of other people and have somebody tell you their idea of God. You can talk to him anytime you want to. So that's what I did. And I went in to talk to him and I said, if this is something you want me to do, I'll do it. I mean, I'm guessing this is something that's bigger than me. And this is what you want me to do. That's what I'll do. And I said, I will do absolutely anything that you want me to do. I will do anything and everything. You just guide me what to do and where to go and what to do next, and I'll do that. I don't have a problem with it. I walked up out of the bedroom, talked to my wife. She said, okay. I said, yep. And then the next day, everything changed. And within a couple of months, all that crazy, scary stuff went away. And then I started asking for more, and I started seeing faces. Now all I see is faces, and I don't see just people. I see dogs and cats and horses and cows and fish, and I see other beings from other worlds. And yeah, I see everything. And then I met some other women who were putting this group together from somebody else I met, and there was all mediums. And I went to the group, and when I walked in, they were all like, because they could feel me walk in, and that was my first year of learning about this. Learned I could channel, learned how to talk to my spirit guides, who my spirit guides were. They are what we call, like I said, considered archangels. They don't look like men with wings. Some of them look humanoid, but they're not human. I have one that was human, but all the other ones, They don't look human. They look most of them look like a prey mantis. Um, I used to see just two of them in my room, one here and one here. And there's this big glowing light, and that's all I saw for a long time. But now I see them as they actually are, and that's why I see the praying mantises, and I see these 10-foot praying mantises standing in my room. And I don't just see one or two; I see thousands of them just in here, and and they're all around me, and I see those eyes watching over me to see what's around me, and it's has progressed. It has evolved from that first day, and it just keeps becoming more and more and more to the point where, like, when I go outside at nighttime, I don't see the stars at night anymore. That's gone. That went away about 3 years ago. All I see is the moon, and I see a blue-black sky, and all I see is energies just floating around and walking around and stuff. I look around and see dogs and cats and everything just walking in front of me and all this stuff. Um, I see them, hear them, feel them, smell them. I smell smells. Spirit touches me all the time. Those ones who don't know what I am, they walk up and touch me and pinch me and poke me all over my entire body. You get used to it. And so they do that, and then I'm in communication with my spirit guides, and like they are archangels, and my thoughts are no longer mine. They have progressed. I would have told you one answer for this, but it just changed the other day as I was doing an interview. They told me. So my thoughts used to be, just me. Now they're progressed, and now it was just as of a week ago. It was only 25% me and 75% them. Everything coming in is them. Now it's 20% me and 80% them, and
It's progressing.
it's progressing. It'll eventually go up to like a 90, 95%. If
So
I'm driving down the street in my car, this happened years ago, like 3 years ago, I was talking to myself, and then they touch me for answers. So I get touched on my face for answers. Uh, at the time, Helen was touching me here. It feels like blood's dripping across my face. And then I have another one named Manos that touches me here. Manos in Greek means God is with us, and Helen means is the light. Um, that's the way it started. Then Helen had to do something else, and she eventually moved up to here. She touches the top of my head. It feels like she's rubbing my head or touching my top of my head. I have another one named Raphael that touches me here. I'll do all the touches, and I'll show you who's actually touching me. You know the names; they're famous. Is it their actual names? No, because our names aren't actually our known own names. Our names are human names. Your actual name, just like their names, are more of a vibrational sound. Like it's you
makes
can't pronounce it. Yeah, you can't pronounce it. So these are the touches that I'm getting now, and these are the names: Raphael, Manos, um, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Michael, Ezekiel, Jesus, angel with a bad rap, Lucifer, Nicholas, Paul, Richard touches me on this
eyelid.
eyelid. Another one pinches me here on this eyebrow, named Daniel. Another one touches me, goes right across here and comes up. Jacob. Another one touches me here on this eyelid. John the Baptist. And then I have another one that kind of drips down here. And that is Ansel. And I think I said Uriel. Yeah, Uriel.
Yeah.
And then I have one that touches me on the very of my eyelash. I've only gotten that touch 5 times, and that's God.
Wow.
How do I know it's God? Because I've seen God twice. I see Jesus every single night of my life. But
So how does he compare to what National Geographic shows us?
with which one, God or Jesus?
Either or.
Jesus looks like he just has long, straight hair. He's got a little bit of a mustache. He doesn't look like he's in like on the cross type of thing. That's what he looks a little bit less dark complected than they make him out to be. I see him at nighttime. But I've seen him in the daytime where I woke up out of sleep, and when I did, I was completely awake, and then I turned around, he was standing right in front of me. Seen him like 3 times there, but I see him at nighttime all the time. He's just staring at me, and then I just get thoughts into my mind, and it's him. And then when he says something after that, he touches me. Uh, yeah, right down the center. I mean, that makes some sense right there. So, yeah, just looks like he does, but I mean, but not. Just he looks a little bit different. God, I've seen him twice. I saw him once when I was really sick, and he came through to let me know that everything was going to be okay, and I was going to be okay. Um, he looked like that Greek god Zeus. He had big muscles and he had long gray hair. He had crow's feet, which was neat to see, and a goatee and beard, and and he was just letting me know everything was okay. And then the second time that I saw him, which was about 6 months ago, he came through genderless. He just had eyes, small nose, small little mouth, round head, and that time was different. I said whenever I see spirit, they're always at kind of a distance, and they're always about 3 or 4 feet in front of me, and I see them in front of me. I saw him right here, and I knew right then there it was God. So you just know. And he was there, and I said, "Hey, God, how are you?" He said, "I'm good, Daniel. How are you?" And I can hear it. I just hear it. And I said, "Is there something I can help you with?" He said, "No, just came to check on you, make sure you're doing okay." And I said, "Am I doing okay?" He said, "Yes, you are, my son." And I said, "Is there anything that you need, anything else you need me to do?" And he said, "My archangels will tell you." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Is there anything that I'm doing that I'm not supposed to be doing?" He says, "No, you're doing just fine. You're doing everything I'm asking of you." And I said, "Okay." And then I'm getting chills right now. I'm just talking about it because
Man.
and 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 I said, "Well, is there anything else you need?" He said, "No, I'm just going to hang out for a while." He said it like that, and I said, "Okay."
Oh, that's great company, though.
He sat there for about 45 minutes, and then he eventually faded away.
That's great
But then other
company.
time, he came to let me know that I was going to be okay because I felt like I was going to die. I had the flu.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
bad, and he said, "No, you're going to be fine. Don't. It's just going to take some time." And it did. It took. I had cellulitis in my leg, and that took about 3 months to go away. But I came out of it. But what do you ask God? I didn't ask him the lottery numbers because everybody wants to load. If I knew the lottery numbers, you think I'd be sitting here?
I highly doubt it. I don't think you would be sitting here.
You know, Here's the thing. They don't care about the lottery numbers. They don't because
um,
where they are, there's no money.
I mean,
They
the money is just value created by
by man,
nobody.
right? To
Yeah,
have,
by
to have
nobody, and that.
right to have power and control over each other. That's all it's. That's all
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
for.
that was the easiest thing to do, right? To create
Yeah.
wealth for the wealthy and
Yes.
decide, well, I'm going to be the wealthiest person, which means power.
Yes. And they
Print out this
decided
piece
that
of
too.
paper, and
Yes.
that's it. Hey, so for this is probably the only time I'll be able to talk to you, man. So I have to ask you this, right? For the record, because this is going to be recorded. This is live. What can we as humans expect during death, right? Because scientists can't explain it. There's near death people who come back and say
No.
this, and that.
No such thing as near death. I'll explain it all.
Okay.
So no one actually has a near death experience. You are given an experience in order to do one thing, to bring a message to people. That's it. Because no one, you either die or
Or you
you
don't.
don't, and that's it. When it's your time to go, it just is. There's two rules in this world. As long as you comprehend these rules and understand these rules, you will appreciate your life a little bit better. And rule number one is people die every day, and rule number two is you can't change rule number one. When it's your time to go, it just is. And if you die, oh well, they brought me back. No, you're just still here. That's it. You're meant to be here. When it's your time to go, you're going. Dead men don't tell stories. They just don't. You are brought with a message, and that's it. It's whether or not you relay that message. But yeah, when
So
you die, it's going to happen the same way. It doesn't make a difference if you fall off the top of a building, get hit by a car, have a debilitating disease, COVID, even if you commit suicide. All that is a facilitation in order for the body to pass away so that the soul may move on. And the soul does move on. The way that's going to happen, anyway, even if you were burning, you fall asleep. You fall asleep. You're going to wake up out of your body. You're going to stand up. You're going to look down. You're going to see your body. And you're going to say, I guess I don't need that anymore. You're going to take a step to the left, and then you're going to look to the right, and a light's going to come on. It's your own personal light. Everyone gets one. And it is that point that you have a choice to make. And you better make it fast, and you better make it right for yourself. Because that choice is either to go into that light or not. And in order to go into that light, you have to be able to let go of all your human feelings. And you're going to be told that. You have to let go of your pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt. Are you willing to do that? Yes, then come on in. If you're not willing to do that, then that light will turn out, and you will remain here as an earthbound spirit for eternity. And eternity is just not as time. It's just you cross over into the light. You will go to a holding place, because no one goes to heaven right away. Because of two reasons. One, 130,000 people die every day, and you have to wait your freaking turn. And two, they're going to go over your life with you. They're going to tell you about your life. Because when you get there and you have let go of all your pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, and anguish, and all that other crap, you are now a beautiful, loving, white light soul. And you forgive, and you love, and you love, and love, and love. And they will tell you, okay, well, you made this decision, and if you think it affected this person, but it didn't. It affected 10 people. And you're like, as a beautiful white light soul, you're like, oh man, I wish I would have done something different. And they said, well, yeah, but you used your free will a little bit too much, and now you made some decisions that you weren't supposed to make. But that's okay. But and then at that point, they will let you know that you didn't do anything wrong. As I will tell you, there's no epic failures. There's no right and wrong. There's no mistakes. There's only two things in this world. Two things you're ever going to make decisions for: what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And if it doesn't work for you, quit freaking doing it. That's all. So they will tell you that, and then at that point, they will let you know if you have fulfilled your purpose or not. And if you have not fulfilled your purpose, you come back. And you do fulfill your purpose throughout your life, but not enough, not as much as they want us to, because we're here to learn lessons and fulfill a purpose. But everything you do in your life is a lesson. If I pick up this towel and if I put it down, that's a lesson. If I pick it up and drop it, it's another lesson. It's not a good lesson or a bad lesson. It's just a lesson. What's the lesson to learn there? For me to grip that towel a little tighter so I don't drop it. It's the same way as if you walk through a door. If you walk through a door, there's a nail in the floor. You may trip over that nail, and you trip over it. What do? You learn a lesson. You go get a hammer. You bang the nail in. Then you can walk through that door freely. Or you're like somebody else in this world who doesn't, and they continue to walk and trip over that nail 4 or 5 times. Why? That means because they don't learn lessons very well, and they trip through life. So you are here to learn those lessons and then fulfill the purpose. The purpose is the most important thing. The purpose is, everyone's purpose is the same purpose. It's not becoming a doctor. It's not becoming a lawyer. It's not becoming an entrepreneur, billionaire. It's you can fulfill your purpose within that, but you're going to fulfill your purpose being human. That's what you're going to do.
So this purpose we're speaking of at the moment is a purpose that everybody has as an individual, or is
Absolutely.
it? Okay.
It's an individual purpose for each person, but it's the same exact purpose. Everyone has the same purpose. You're just doing it in the body that you're doing it. That's all.
Now, this place you spoke of, that was a, I guess they call it like a purgatory, right? You said like a holding.
No, they call it purgatory, but no, there's no.
It's like a holding, right?
Yeah, it's just a holding area. There's no demons or nothing like that going on. There's no such thing as demons. I see the earthbound realm all the time. There's nobody walking around with horns and a tail, unless that's what they are, where they are, and that's where they came from that world. They look like, some of them look like monsters, but they're not monsters. It's just that's what they look like from where they come from. So, but yeah, there's no demons there. There's no one being burned. No one's being tortured. None of that stuff. No, Lucifer is not the devil. He looks like a regular man. He's got a black beard and black hair. I see him all the time. He's one of my guides. So
it was the morning star.
Yeah. I see all the archangels because every one of them is my spirit guide. Every single one of them, and there's
Like,
thousands of them.
so this holding area that you spoke of, can that area be visited? I mean, I just want to share an experience I had when I was a kid.
You're when you're doing that, you're in between, but that's not the actual holding area. You are seeing things, but that's not the whole. That holding area is for you, our spirit, at that point.
Like
That's where you're going to be told whether or not you're coming back or not.
oh, if I can just share an experience with you. I know we've been
Oh, of course.
over an hour now. I don't want to apologize anymore. You taught me a lesson earlier, actually.
Yeah, we don't need to apologize. We can talk for as long as you want to. I got nothing to do tomorrow except pack boxes. Big deal.
Great, you're moving. Oh, by the way, guys, he's moving from Delaware to Arizona. That's a big move.
Yeah, driving out there. Me and my wife, two cars, two trailers, and 10 cats.
Oh, wow, 10 cats. I got two.
10
I feel like
cats.
they're a handful.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so my experience, man. I was 9 years old when my dad passed away. Like I turned 9, literally a week later, he passed away.
Yeah, so actually, when you're telling me that right now, they're actually touching me on my face, telling me, yes, that's exactly when it happened.
Yeah, and so I didn't understand death yet. I had literally just turned 9, and there was no feeling because he passed away. I saw the casket being lowered. That's when I felt a little emotional because my dad was going in the hole, and I just didn't want to put it out there to the world. But
Hey, you don't happen to know somebody with thick eyebrows and had kind of curly hair, do you?
I can't. I wouldn't know right now. I'm sure I do. Everybody out here does.
Yeah, because I see somebody as soon as I got my eyes closed. Go ahead.
um. So okay. So then, I was really worried for some reason internally, not on the outside. I wouldn't show it, but subconsciously, I was just depressed. I guess. Right. 9 years
Sure.
old. So
We lose that that physical being of them. We lose that whole relationship we had. So of course you would be angry at that because you want to know why this happened.
yeah. So then he pops up into my dream one day. I'm a big. I had told you before. My dreams they mean a lot. So he popped up to my dream and he told me
He sure
in,
do.
at a cemetery, in a hazy cemetery. I just remember waking up there, like where am I? And he's sitting on top of his tombstone and he just tells me like, hey, like don't worry, Abel, like it's okay, like I'm not dead. I'm right here. And he like touched my chest, like where your heart is. I'm right here. Don't worry.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he
So
is.
that brought comfort.
Sure.
But then the dreams continued to this one where I woke up in what looked like a waiting room. It was all white. Everything was white. Chairs were white. The floors were white. The
That
secretary was wearing white. The desk
that's
was white.
that's different, and I'll tell you about that as soon as you get done.
Okay, so the secretary is like sitting like this, all white, and behind her is like cubbies, like squares with
Yeah.
things, personal belongings. And I ask her, like, I guess I showed up there with a purpose, right? I tell her, how can we help you? I'm like, oh, I'm here to look for my dad. Well, what's his name? I'm like, oh, Leonardo Vela. And she's like, well, hold on really quick. She goes back. She started looking through the cubbies, and she tells me, you know what? You can't see him right now. You can't see him. He can't come to you. It's not your time to see him, but he wants you to have this. And she gave me a Bible, and it was his Bible. And to me, at this point in life, right, I'm not super religious, so I don't want. I'm just going by what 9-year-old me was experiencing,
Sure.
and that was the last
It's
dream
what
I had.
9-year-old you could interpret at that point.
Right. That was that. That was it. That's the last time I dreamt my anything having to do with my dad. So
The place that they took you is whenever I do a channeling session with someone, the person that I'm sitting with, that's where their consciousness gets taken to.
wow.
Every
Wow.
single time. Every single time I do one with someone, they say the same thing. Yeah, they put me in a white room.
A white room. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can see who's in front of me talking to you. And I say, okay. Because all I see is when I close my eyes is I see the faces of the angels who are talking to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now, Mr. Daniel, See, I didn't say Mr. Jackson.
It's it's
Mis-
it's Mr. Jackson, Daniel, if you're nasty.
we've had a good flow of people watching, and I'm sure these kind of topics they're hard for people to be able to come on and have any comments because it is
Sure.
a tough topic. It's a whole spiritual
Oh,
topic.
absolutely. Yeah, it's a tough thing for people to talk about. This is this is has not been an easy journey for me. This has not been an easy life for me. Becoming this, you are more or less. When I let people know this is what I am, when I first did that, it's like coming out of the closet. I'm letting people know this is who I am. This is what I am, and I lost a lot of my friends. They just went away because of their religious backgrounds and their beliefs. They decided that I was a demon or I talked to demons and devils and all that stuff. And so, yeah, that changed for me. Um, it's not easy to talk to everybody. When I get messages, sometimes I'll be standing next to somebody and I get a message. I was just at a place called Stoneworks Lapidary here in Delaware with a friend of mine who had moved out to Arizona, who came to me and her daughter, um, who are also mediums, but they get a lot of messages from me because they know where I get my information from. I don't talk to just general spirit. I talk to archangels. They're the right hand of God. When I'm getting you an answer, I'm getting it from God. So they came to me and they said, "Hey, we're thinking about leaving, moving. Where are we supposed to go?" I said, "You're supposed to go to Arizona." And she said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, and you're going to book a flight there soon, and if you haven't already, and when you get there, you're going to get your feet off the plane. You're going to put them on the ground, and then you're going to know that you need to just come back here and pick up your stuff and go home." And they said, "Yeah, we were looking at flights last night." And I said, "Awesome." And then they booked a flight, and they went to Arizona. They got off the plane, and then they came back 2 weeks later, and they said, "We're getting our stuff and we're going back." She said, "We actually, when we got there 2 hours later, we rented a place to live." She said, "You were exactly right about everything." So yeah, she was here, and we went down to this store. And as soon as I walked in, there was a lady, two girls standing here talking, and they were looking at stones and stuff like that. And I got a message that she has an ability, and she was unaware of it. So I said to my wife, I said, "Well, we're in this store." I said, "I got to go talk to this girl because she's got an ability. She's unaware of it." And I did it. And when I walked over to her, she said, "I do pick up on those things." And I went through all this stuff to her. I told her about her, and she's like, "Yeah, I do pick up on that." I said, "Yeah, well, you have this ability. You just have to move forward with it." And I told her what to do. And then somebody else was talking, and I turned around and said some things there, and they were like, and then they just started asking me a bunch of questions, and they said, "How do you know this stuff?" I said, "Because I see spirit 24/7. I know all this stuff." But it's not easy being this because not everybody. I have seen people and I get messages, and then I ask spirit, "Should I talk to that person?" They say, "Well," because it's a spirit who's telling me that. Then my archangels tell me, "No, don't go up to that person because they may not be able to handle what you have to say to them." So it's not always easy. I mean, on the back of my truck, it says www.spiritmediumdaniel.com, and people see that. But I have a Jeep Gladiator, and people
Oh,
who like Jeeps, they like to name their Jeeps. So I named my Jeep. I have it right on the hood. It says Lucifer on the hood. But
oh,
I also have big angel wings on the back and on the roof, and it says 1111 there because that's Lucifer's numbers. So anytime you see 1111, you're seeing it. But he's not the devil. He's just an angel with a bad rap.
that
The
was
people
just
who want
yesterday.
the people who want to control and have power over you, in order to do that, they have to be able to punish you. And in order to do that, they have to be able to put you someplace that they invented to do that because they can't go to themselves because they're human. That's why.
I mean, I can totally agree with that because I don't know if indoctrinated is the correct word.
Absolutely indoctrinated. They indoctrinated God and Jesus into their ideology to have control and power over you because they want to tell you, "Oh, he's a merciful God, but you also have to fear him." That doesn't make sense. Does that make sense?
That
You know,
that
the one that doesn't get me, Abel, is the one where every time I talk to these religious people, I always ask them the questions. I said, "Well, can you answer some questions?" "Sure, sure. I know all about the Bible." "Okay, good." I said, "Good," because I do too, and I've never read one. So, and they said, "How do you know?" I said, "Because Spirit tell me. That's why." But I say, "What about?" They said, "God, Father and Son, the Holy Ghost." I said, "Yeah." I said, What about?" I said, "Well, Father and Son, yes, but no Holy Ghost." And they said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And they said, well, there's a Holy Ghost. I said, no, there's not. And you can't talk to him. Well, what do you mean by that? I said, well, if you go on page 6 or 7 in the Bible, it tells you in that Bible, that book, not to talk to mediums like me. Because mediums are necromancers, they're thieves, and they talk to spirit, which means they're actually talking to demons and devils. And they say, yes, that's correct. I say, okay. Now here's the thing. If they say you're not allowed to talk to me because I speak to spirit, and you are not allowed to speak, you're not allowed to speak to spirit, who is talking to the Holy Ghost? And
Checkmate.
they go, wait a minute. I said, yeah, who's talking to the Holy Ghost? I said, who's the special one in your religion that's allowed to talk to him? Because you're not allowed to talk to him, and I'm not allowed to talk to him. Nobody's allowed to talk, but somebody's talking to him, right? And they go, I said, well, you're getting messages from the Holy Ghost, correct? Well, I said, you know what else you're getting messages from? They said, what? I said, God, because God is also in spirit. But you're talking to God, right? But no one's supposed to be talking to God. And how did he talk to you? And how did he talk to those people who supposedly wrote the Bible? Because no one who gets messages is supposed to be talking to God or spirit. And they go, I go, yeah, exactly what you said. Checkmate. No,
Checkmate.
no, because they're full of shit.
I would love to one day touch that topic on a whole podcast. Definitely, from my point of view, my stance, and I can say it freely, is I'm not a religious person because there's like 100 religions. There's like 100 religions, right?
Right. Who's right?
And but I am a person who at one point was a deist. I believe that there was a God, but I believe that he didn't care, right? But I grew out of that. And I understood.
Yeah.
And I understood. A lot of people have asked me, "Hey, man, you've had like a spiritual transition or something?" And I'm like, like honestly, yeah, I have. I mean, I realize I'm grateful every single day I wake up is an opportunity.
It's not that God doesn't care. God bless you, or God helps those that help themselves. Not really. God already helped you one time. He put you here. He wants us to figure out the rest.
Yep.
And then we get help from the spirit guides as well, but we don't always listen to them. And that's what you need to do, is listen to them and follow through, because they're trying to help us. But people don't. People use their free will too much about themselves because they think their life is about themselves. It's not. It's about you helping other people. They want to help us fulfill our purpose, is what they want to do.
I'm sure that's the next level. I realized this morning that I don't want to call it a game because it's not something we really, really play, but life is like a game.
It is. It's a big human experience. It's a God experience.
There you go.
It's a God experiment, more or less. He wants us to learn things and fulfill this purpose. But yeah, it's up to us to figure out if we're going to do it or not.
Yeah, like if we're going to play, we have to play to win. If not, we're going to keep coming back as just, at the same level always.
Do you know what that winning point is?
I haven't figured it out yet.
The winning point is not having to come back again.
Well, there you go.
Because the people who are your spirit guides, those are the ones who have fulfilled their purpose, and they come back to help other people. Not all of them do, but some of them do come back and they help people. Every single person on the face of this earth has spirit guides. You always have two with you, a man who helps you with more of your masculine decisions and a female with more nurturing decisions. But you always have two. No one on the face of this earth is ever alone. No one. You always have spirit guides around you and a spirit with you, but not everybody listens to them because the world taught you not to.
Yep.
Because they told you that you had to go out and produce as much as you can, make as much money as you can, and show and have power over other people, and how much you can be better than other people, and prove how much better you are than everybody else, and all that shit. Why? Because they want you to go out there again to make as much money as you can for them, and we get the crumbs.
Makes sense, man. Makes sense. So, Daniel, let's talk a little bit about your website. What is it that you currently do? What are you offering? What is there out there? Not offering, but what is it that you can bring to people who are listening and have questions and follow? I just want to know a little bit more about your current state. I heard a lot about everything you've been
Delaware?
through. Hey, that's a good one.
Yeah, so in about 3 weeks, my current state is going to be Arizona.
Wow.
I know, man. I know. Could be one hell of a drive. My current state. Well, I'm what you would call a professional medium. This is what I do for a living. I do readings for people. I can do them through a link, this type of thing, like through Skype or I can send them a link, what have you, uh, and or I do them in person. I prefer to do them more in person because when I'm in front of someone, I see more. I will sit in front of them and hold their hand, and I can exactly see who is with them there. I can tell them who their spirit animals are. Uh, I do what's called a soul alignment at that point. I not only do I see spirit everywhere, but I can see the one that's inside of you. When you're in front of me, I can turn you around and I look into you. And I close my eyes and I can see your soul. And sometimes it gets off keel, and then I put my hands on them and then I fix it. But I also bring people they can ask me anybody because I can ask my spirit guides because spirit when I cross them over they want to know things so they ask me questions. I ask my guides, they give me the answers, and because I can do that for me and those spirit, I can ask questions for every single person on the face of the earth, and they can ask me anything and I will get the answer. But you have to ask me an actual direct question and I will give you a direct answer. But there are those out there, Abel, who like to do this. They want to try to trick me. And I have stood up from readings and left. I've also tried to correct people on these things. I had a girl these two girls are sitting in front of me, and one girl asked me questions, and I answered for her. The other girl started asking me questions, and when she did, I stopped her and said, "Hold on." She said, "Why?" I said, "You have to ask me truthful questions." And she said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "You're asking me dishonest questions right now. You're trying to manipulate the questions so you can get a truth that you want and not the actual truth. And because you're trying to have power over this girl next to you." And she's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean? What do you mean by that?" I said, and I turned to her and I said, "She wants to have control over you. So she's asking me questions to get her own truth so she can have control over you." And she looks at me, she said, "How do you know that?" I said, "Because I'm the fucking medium. You can't lie to spirit." Because they're telling me, they're answering me. I said, the first question I ask is when you're asking me questions is, are they telling me the truth? And they kept telling me no. So whenever I get a no answer, it feels like I only get one answer for no, and it feels like tears running down my face. I said, "Is this girl telling me the truth?" And they said, "No." I said, "She manipulating the questions?" "Yes." I said, "She's trying to get her own truth?" "Yes." And then that's when I stopped it. And then I told her that. And then what happened after that was funny. She said, I said, "All right." She asked truthful questions. I gave her the answers. And when she didn't like the answers, she would do this. She went, mm-hmm. I said, "Are you humming?" And she said, "What?" I said, "A girlfriend, she humming?" She said, "Oh, she does that to me all the time." I said, "She's blocking me out because she doesn't like the truth." And I stood up and I gave her her money back and I said, "Have a great day." Because I don't play that shit. Because as I tell everybody, the world is not rainbows and freaking unicorns. It's just not. It's real life, and you'll get real answers. And not everybody can handle the truth because I tell the truth one way. I can't tell it 50 ways until one way suits you. I can only tell it one way. And if you don't like it, that's not my problem. But it's still the truth. And some people, I always tell them, you may not get the reading you want, but you will get the reading that you need. So I bring truth and I bring peace of mind and I bring clarity to people who are looking for it. And they ask me the questions and I get them the answers. And then it's up to them to choose and use their free will to decide what they're going to do with the information after that. And if they choose to use it, good. I did a reading for a girl. She came to me and she said, "Hey, I want to open up this business." And I said, "No." And she said, "What do you mean no?" I said, "No, don't open the business." She said, "Why not?" I said, "Well, you're going to end up opening it. You're going to get a partner." And she said, "I don't want a partner." I said, "Well, you're going to get one because you can't afford it because of the equipment you got to get for this business." And she said, "How'd you know I'm going to need equipment?" I said, "Because you're talking to the medium. How do you think I know?" And I said, "You're going to get a partner, and then he's going to want a quick return on his money, and it's not going to work out. You're going to end up closing the business." And she said, "All right." So she got done the reading. I see her a year later. She comes to me. She goes, "You remember me, Daniel?" I said, "Come on, lady. I see a gazillion people." She said, "I wanted to open a business." And I said, "Oh, yeah, right here in this town that I'm in, across the street, correct?" And she said, "Yeah, how'd you know that?" I said, "You're talking to medium guy again." And she said, I said, "I told you not to open it, correct?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "What did you do?" She said, "I opened it." I said, "How did that go?" She said, "I closed it 3 months later." I said, "Why?" She said, "Well, I got a partner." And I said, "Didn't I tell you we were going to get one?" She said, "Oh, yeah." I said, And he wanted a quick return. She said, yes, he wanted a quick return and he didn't get it. So that he pulled out and I had to close the business. And she said, now I owe him $10,000. And I said, well, if you would have listened to me, you would know him anything. She said, I know. I said, are you going to listen to me now? But she didn't, because she started asking me a bunch of questions. She said, she's like these questions she was in. My daughter's going to have a child. Do you know what it's going to be? I said, a boy. She said, okay. And I said, she said, any problems with the baby? I said, well, it's going to have some breathing problems and some ear problems for about 3 or 4 years, but it's eventually going to grow out of it. And you know what she said? She said, yeah, that's what the other 3 mediums told me. And I said, excuse me? She said, that's what the other 3 told me. I said, so now you're coming to me, a 4th one? Why would you do that? And she said, well, I wanted validation. I said, maybe out validation after the first one, but not after 3. Don't do that. Because that would be me undermining somebody, and I'm not going to do that. But the problem was for her is every answer I gave her, the other 3 mediums gave them the same answer. I said, so in other words, you're getting the truth, and the reason you keep coming back to someone else is because you don't like the truth and you can't deal with it. Correct? And she said, well, I said, yeah, not well. Correct.
She wants to hear a different.
She wants
to hear a different.
Yeah,
she wants to hear her story.
Yes, and that's what people want. They want their own truth, and you're not going to get that. You're going to get the real truth. And you know what the funny part about it is? They know they're coming to me. They know where I get my answers from, because people around me here know me, and they know that I'm getting it from archangels, which is the right hand of God. They are getting their answers from God, and they don't like it.
Yeah, there's
That's the funny part. I don't like that. I'm like, you're getting it from God. Well, I want to do something different. You want to do something. Everybody wants a message from God, but when you get one, you don't like it. What do you mean by that?
Like, nope, that's a different God. That's not my God or something.
Maybe, maybe it is. Maybe it's their own God. So, well, God is neither he or she. God just is. So, it's just, if you want that answer, great. If you don't want to do it, that's your free will doing what you want to do when you want to do it, and I can't help you. So have a great day. Yeah, but I will help anyone who wants to help. When I do a reading, it's if it's in person, it's $120. If they do it online, it's $100. And I don't care if the reading lasts for 2 or 3 hours. I'm not going to charge you any more money after that. I don't. I know mediums that charge $400 or $500 an hour, and if you go over 10 minutes, they start charging you. I don't, because I'm given this ability. It comes through with my soul every single time, and it's here to do what I'm supposed to do, and which is help people, because that's what your purpose is. We are here to help people just for the sake of helping, not because you're just opening a door and saying hello, but because you can, because you should, because someone's going to need your help, and this is what you do. And sometimes this is what I do. So if I have to talk to them for 2 or 3 hours to get everything they need to know, it's going to set them on their way and help them, then that's what I will do. So yeah, and that's what I do for people. And they can find me at www.spiritmediumdaniel.com, one long word. And like you said, or they can check out my podcast at www.beyond-the-veil.com, and they can see my videos, or see I have other videos on YouTube at Spirit Medium Daniel, or check me out on Facebook at Spirit Medium Daniel. We tried to get the name for Beyond the Veil first, but now it's just called Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson, the show. You can look that up on Spotify, Stitcher, all those ones. And I got like 20 shows on there now. We tried to do Beyond the Veil, but when we did that, there was like hundreds of them. And one of them, the very first one that came up, was telling stories about Harry Potter books. And I was like,
oh man,
what the fuck's that got to do with Beyond the Veil? I'm Beyond the Veil. I mean, so when I told you that spirit sees me in that ball of light because they believe I'm the light in heaven, I actually am. I am the light that shines, that shows spirit how to go into heaven. The light that shines has to be in a physical body for 2 reasons. 1, to shine all the time so the spirit can see it. And 2, to do it physically. And I cross them over physically into the light. The light that shines for spirit to see is only in one person, me. So that's why I said there's no one else like me. When they see spirit, when spirit sees you, they see your light inside of you. All they see is light with me, because that's what I am.
You know what I see? Beyond the veil. A veil is something that covers what you're seeing, but
Yes,
beyond the veil reflects clarity. So there's
absolutely.
clarity beyond the veil,
Absolutely.
and that is what Daniel is bringing.
Peace of mind. Yes, because if the veil was actually like a glass wall and you could see your friends on the other side, what would you be doing? You'd be banging on that wall trying to get their attention. What would you not be doing? You would not be living the life that you are supposed to live. You would not be learning the lessons you are supposed to learn. You would not be fulfilling the purpose that you are to fulfill. That's why it's a veil.
And Daniel,
Everyone can see it. I can see straight through it. There's no veil there for me. I'm here. I see them. I close my eyes. I see them. I see more of them when I close my eyes, but I see them in the day. I see lights and eyes and little sparkles and little wavy things and what looks like heat signatures everywhere. And or I just see people walk through the room and I see full on people walk through the room and they're ones who have crossed over already. In the darkness, I see the other ones, but I see everything. It never goes away. Uh, and I have to take a lot of medicine at nighttime to go to sleep because if I don't, they will wake me up in the middle of the night because they are just going. And if they can talk to someone who they know who can communicate with them, because some people like me, there are other people, not no one's like me, but there are people who have a light who it's brighter. You know them because it's all you have to do is look in the mirror because it's you. It's you.
well, what? No,
Why do you think they come to you in your dreams?
man. You know what the craziest thing about everything is right now? If you're saying what you're saying right now, what brought up my attention right now? I looked at the clock. This is the first time I look at it. It was 11:34. I saw how long the show was going on for. I saw how long the show had been going on for. It was 1:34. At 42 minutes into the show, I heard a lady yelling in my headphones.
You're not actually hearing it in your headphones. You're hearing it in your mind because she's talking to you in your
I
mind.
couldn't understand.
It sounds like you're hearing it through your headphones.
Now, what did you say about the light bright?
Your light is brighter than some other people, most other people's. You are what I call 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
I,
You have an ability. You're just unaware of it.
makes sense.
You
100%.
can hear them.
Makes sense.
You know how
Like,
many people can hear them? And
I'm,
you know how many people have this ability?
I don't know. I was wondering.
About 10% of the population. You know how many people there is in the world? 7
Billion? Almost, yeah, 7.6 billion or something.
Yeah, you're one of those who are different.
And I mean, I actually have to say this you're correct. I mean, why did I connect with you? Why did
Because spirit brings them to me. Now, how many people I've done interviews with and they've all had this ability, they didn't know about it.
I can imagine.
When
I'm
I
like,
do readings, when I go out to festivals and stuff like that, the last festival I did, they brought me 3 people, and the one before that, they brought me 4 people.
wow.
One of them was an 11-year-old girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
The ability exists. Definitely, like everything has been indoctrinated.
Yeah.
We're inside this astronaut suit to live in this earth, and people feel dependent, right?
Man,
People
that's a good way of putting it. I like that.
they become dependent on living in the flesh and bones, so
Yeah.
dependent on it that whatever somebody who has a better flesh and bones than we do, we idolize those people to the
Yes.
point that we forget where we're really coming from, to the point where we forget where we were really born, to the point where we
Yes.
forget where we're really gonna die.
Yes.
And
You
that
know,
is going on now.
you know when you're going to die? Because I know when I'm going to die.
I don't know when I'm gonna die.
I'm going to be 83 years old. My birthday is in November, so it's coming up. But I'm going to die in August on the 3rd week and on a Wednesday. I'm going to go to sleep and not wake up. I'm going to know the day before, so I'll make sure that I kiss my wife goodnight and tell her I love her and I will miss her, and then I will be gone.
Come to my dreams, bro, that night.
Yeah, I'll be gone before you will.
Well, that gives me some hope.
How old are you now?
35.
Oh yeah. I will. I'm 50. I'll be 55 in a week. So, yeah, you got well.
Sometime hanging, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to know? I can tell you.
Just say it. Say it already.
You want to know how many times you've been here?
I would just take a guess at 7, but I don't know.
Man, that's a horrible guess.
Okay.
Um, you've been here 28 times.
28 times.
Yeah. So each time that you came back, well, you've died. You've passed away young a few times. Three, only three. Oh, you've only died. Oh, okay. I'm being touched. So you've only passed away under the age of 30 years old 3 times. All the other ones were over the age of 30 years old. Meaning, when you pass away at the age over the age of 30 years old, the next lifetime that you came back into was another 80, whatever, when it was that you passed away, you came back another 80 years after that.
Oh, I see.
If you passed away before the age of 30 years old, you would come back 8 years later. And just the reason being for those time periods is so no one will recognize you. That's why I tell people don't mess with 23andMe or Ancestry.com, because the person that you're looking up from 100 years ago that looks similarly like you is
Was
you.
probably you.
It is you.
Yeah, you mentioned 8 years or something. 8 is actually my life number.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been here. You've been here a shitload of times. So you've been here times when there was no TV and when there was no running water and all that stuff. Yeah, thousands of years ago you were here
So why do people keep coming back? To
because they
fulfill
don't.
the purpose?
Yeah, that you're fulfilling your purpose is very simple. You're here to help people just for the sake of help. Someone would come up to you, Abel, and say, "You know what? I'm lost. Can you help me?" Now, I had an experience like that where I was out riding my motorcycle. I had this leather jacket on that looks like a skeleton, and this little old lady walks up to me and she says, "I'm lost. Can you help me?" And I was like looking at all these other bikers, and I'm like, "Why is she coming up to me?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, where do you going to? And she said, "Oh, this." It was like 5 miles away, way out of the way. And I said, "You know what? I got to go over that way," but I really didn't. And I said, "I'll get on my bike. I'll come over to you, and then you follow me out." And I took her all the way where she needed to go, and then I waved her off to the road she needed to go down, and then she was fine. And that's the type of experience that's going to happen. It's going to happen like that, where someone's going to come up to you and physically need your help, but it's up to you to decide and choose and use your free will to decide if you're actually going to do it. There are going to be people who are going to try to take advantage of you because all they want to do is take what you have because they don't want to do it for themselves. But you have to also decide what if you're going to help them as well. And some of you are just going to figure out, well, I screwed up, and but you didn't. You were doing it for best intentions. But that's the way it's going to happen. And we don't always do it enough in this life because life gets in the way. So all the other 27 times that you've been here, because you're on number 28, you've done it, but we just haven't done it enough. Okay. My soul keeps coming back over and over and over again. It never leaves. It doesn't go home. You get to go home, and then they let you know if you have to go back again. But this is the last time that I have to be here. This is it. But my soul has been here over 23,000 times. I've been here since the beginning.
Whoa.
So I'm always here. And apparently, in the very beginning, I volunteered for it.
Oh,
Yeah, you can also so if you want to see one of my lives and you want to see my face, but sort of a painted picture of the face of the person, but not the real what he actually looked like. If you look at the Last Supper and you look at Jesus and you look at the third guy to the left and his name's Peter, that was me one time. So
wow.
yeah, I've been here for a while.
That's a while. That's a good while.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. They killed my friend because the real reason why Jesus Christ was here was not what they say it is. He did not die for your sins. And who told me this? Him. So he doesn't die for our sins because no one sins because we're all created from God, from a part of him, which makes our soul a divine soul. So everyone is a divine soul. It's just the people who are in power and control of us don't want us to know that, because if they knew how much control and power we had over ourselves, we wouldn't let them do what they do to us every day and throughout our lives. Jesus came here to let us know we could all live together, share everything in the world, and take care of everybody in the world. And we wouldn't have to charge money or nothing. We could all just live together and be peaceful men and women, and just men and women, because there's no other LGBTQ and all that.
Gender,
You're
under gender.
you are a woman or a man, and that is it. And everyone else just wants to use their individual free will to decide what they're going to be. Yeah, there I am. See the guy talking to him over there? Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
which would it be? So it's
Uh,
the third one on the left. If I'm looking right at this picture now.
I can't tell with the picture. The picture always screws me up. So if you get on the, it'll show a picture and it'll see three to the right. It says Peter. Which one is Peter? I haven't seen the picture in so long. I just know it's third to the left, third to the right. The man with the gray, because the one next to him is not actually a man. That's a woman.
Oh, okay, okay.
Jesus' wife.
Really?
Yes, really, because he was married, and he had children, and he had brothers and sisters, and there was no there
I
was no
know he had children for sure. I know that one of them, his name was Jesus too.
and there was no immaculate conception. He was born just like everybody else was. So yeah, he told me that he was here to show everybody that we could all take care of each other. The reason he died on the cross is because the people who were in control saw him doing this, and they basically were like, he's taking our power, our control, and our money away from us, our taxes away from us. So they scooped him up and they put him on that cross. That was religion. They don't want to tell you that part. Religion did that. And they put him on that cross because he wasn't the first one to be on it, and he wasn't the last one to be on it. And they tortured the shit out of him, and they murdered him in front of everybody to let everybody know that if you do this, if you follow him, if you do this too, we're going to do this to you too. That's why the cross itself is a form of punishment. They want you to wear that form of punishment around your neck, not to remind you of Jesus Christ, but to remind you how much control and power they have over you. Why would you want to wear a form of punishment and worship a form of punishment? Why would you want to do that?
Would you say that's kind of like wearing a gun around, on your neck, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, basically same. It's a symbolism thing of power and control.
and there's a lot of control that has been occurring for many, 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 many centuries.
Well, they started it.
Religion started it.
Religion started it. They're the ones who started that. They don't want you to know that, but they convinced everybody into this other fear. And I mean, just imagine all the places you might have gone or people you might have met in your lifetime without any fear. You want to ask somebody out. Well, what if they say no? Well, who cares? There's a gazillion of them out there. Go ask another one. If they didn't go out with you, it's because they weren't meant to be with you and you weren't meant to be with them. Just like divorce. Divorce is supposed to be, well, you know what? This didn't work out. Pat them on the shoulder and walk away. But it isn't. People have to bring their own agendas, their own feelings into it. All these things that we learned how to have in this world, because you learned everything in your world. All pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, anguish. You learned all that stuff. You learned everything you know here. You've learned it all. But Jesus and God, they want us to get rid of the Bible. They want us to get rid of the cross. The Bible doesn't work. As you said, as we all know, there's 100 million different freaking religions. Which one of them's right? None of them, because they're all lying. Because
I mean,
it's all about how they can control their people. And then because all churches is God Club. It's a club that you can go to and join, that they want you to join, and help them support that by giving them 10%. And then they want to tell you how to live your life. That's all it is.
I mean, and it's also proven by all the books that have been omitted off the Bible to what I've read is they have been omitted because it was, it wasn't to the convenience of the religion.
Right. Well, they took a lot of part. King James. Why is it called the King James Bible? Because King James was a man who didn't like the Bible, and he wrote it into his own version of the Bible. And who was he to do that? He was a king. He could do it because he was a king. And now people read that as being one of the Bibles. But he converted it so it would work for him and his rule and people who continue to rule. That's
so
why.
Does any truth exist in that book?
Some, but if that book is 3 inches thick, there's only about 1 inch of truth. Everything else is a lie. They want to tell you 10 stories, try to convince you into 1 point with 10 stories.
Because there are so many stories that are so contradicting too.
Because Moses lived to be 560 something years old. No, he didn't. Nobody can live to be five. Nobody. Because, like I said, when it's your time to go, no one lives to be 150 years old. No one. You know, when you're 150 years old, it's going to hurt to pee, man. Do you want to be able? No. No one's living to be 150 years old. Why? Because the body expires. And if you have to come back, you're coming back into a new one.
A whole new astronaut suit.
Absolutely. You come back into the astronaut suit and you walk around with everybody else and going, hey, man, hey, you're back. Yeah, yeah. But nobody really, they call it reincarnation, but you're just coming back to fulfill that purpose some more. That's all. But yeah, all that other stuff. Jonah and the belly of a whale. Seriously? Come on, man. And with Noah and Noah's Ark, here's the thing about Noah's Ark. Rained for 40 days and 40 nights. It's been proven if it rained for 40 days and 40 nights, there would be so much water in the air, you would drown. You wouldn't be able to breathe. You would drown in water. There's no possible way. And then after that, here's the thing. Who was on the boat with him?
A bunch of animals.
And who else? His kids, right?
Okay, yeah.
When they landed, when there was nobody else in the world, but apparently there was. But they say when they landed, it destroyed everything. Then where did we come from? Did they have incest and have sex with each other and have babies?
That would be the only possible way, right?
Right, but that's not the truth. They say they met like Mongoloids or something somewhere else. Yeah. How did they survive if no one was supposed to survive? How did they survive if it was a world flood? Because it wasn't.
With the Nephilims or something like
that.
The
Nephilims, yeah. Who is that?
The Nephilims. When God sent down angels to look over the humans, and the angels were so amused by the women, and they ended up having intercourse and having babies who were half angel species, half human, which became the Nephilims. Which were.
Do you know what those are?
Well, according to the story, which is not in the Bible because it was omitted.
Right.
You know,
do you know who those beings were that came down and had sex with the women?
No, I don't.
Sure you do. They're called what we call aliens.
Aliens.
Yes, because that's what angels are. They're just beings of a higher consciousness. They are beings of a higher consciousness, but these ones have evolved and no longer needing a body, and they've been around for billions of years, way before religion. That's what they are. We were not born of Adam and Eve or Adam and Steve, whichever you prefer. We were born of them. They came here. They had us. Here we are. And then they come back and visit all the time. That's why you see the little ships around and all this stuff, because they're checking on us to see our progress.
We are the zoo now.
We are them. That's all.
Yeah. Extraterrestrials.
Yes.
Makes sense. 100%.
Yeah. But that's who came down and had sex with the women. That's who. But were they actual angels? No. They were just beings of another world. That's all.
Described as angels.
Yes, because we see them as these things that come out of the sky. Oh, they must be gods and they must be angels. No, they're just beings from other worlds who have technology that we don't.
The Aztecs had the same run-in when Hernan Cortez showed up to Mexico, and they thought that was Quetzalcoatl. They thought that was their god showing up, the man with blue eyes who came and slaughtered everybody.
Yeah, because he's a god, because he slaughters people, man.
So, yeah.
Really? I mean, oh my God. Yeah, they just, because they don't know, because they see someone who's different, you know, just in the same way as far as like, what do they call them? Oh my gosh. So if there was somebody who was like a musician or so, they were made, the word just went right out of my mouth, right out of my head. I forget, but they made them as somebody important,
like an icon.
Yeah, like an icon, because they were idolized just because they were able to play an instrument or something like that, and then they were made something important in the Bible just for that. But they were just regular people. They were nothing more important. No one is more important than anyone else. People are more important because we make them that way. Because we allow them to become that. They become idols because we idolize them. We make them famous. They're famous because we make them famous. The only way we can stop that is by stopping making them famous. By going back and saying, you know what? We are all the same. We all come from the same place. We can all go back to the same place if we choose. And because if you choose not to, you just remain here as an earthbound spirit. But we can all go home. We're all the same. We all came from the same place. Why are we not being treated the same? We
So
have to.
home on the other side, is that much nicer than home here?
Yes, I've seen it. I see it a bunch of times. It's pretty neat to see. You don't see just regular people there. You see dogs and cats and horses and cats, but you see other. I see other beings there. They actually look like cartoons. I
Oh,
see them walking around. They are in cartoon figure. I was like, then I saw them standing next to a human, and I was like, wait a minute. And I said to him, is that a cartoon? No. Where do you think you got the idea from cartoons from?
mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's just what they look like. That's all. But they have passed over into spirit now. When you become that, you can go any place you want to. You can go into other realms, you can go to other galaxies, other planets, and all that stuff. You're just in spirit, but you can go there. As far as the ones who are earthbound, they stay here, and that's it. There's nothing. When I see that, there's no trees, there's no buildings, there's no structure, none of that. There is a sort of land there, but nothing else. And if you wanted to call that hell, sure, because there's no place to go. All they do is interact with each other and try to interact with us as well. Some of them do. They come through and they are just doing this. The negative ones are here to scare the shit out of you because they think it's funny, and the positive ones they're not really negative, but they just don't want to cross over. That's all. And they hang out on the outer edges of the earthbound realm. There is a darker center of that, and I've been there because they tell me to go there to cross spirit over, but a lot of them don't want to go, and they get angry at me for being in there. But is what it is. But yeah, they a lot of them are just there hanging out. You know what they do over there though? I see them all the time. They're making out. I see
Oh
them
my.
making out all the time. They'll be looking at me, staring at me. I was in the hospital one time, and I'm sitting there in the bed because this is when I had the flu and I had cellulitis. And I'm laying there. My guy, the other guy in the room, he's sleeping. And I'm laying there. It's dark in there, and I see this spirit come up. This lady, they don't walk, they just kind of float in. And she stares at me, she's looking at me. I don't say nothing yet because I wait. And then another girl comes in and they're both sitting there next to each other and they look at each other and one says, hey, how are you? Good, how you doing? What do you think? Okay. And then they started making out. And I was like, wow, check this out. And then a guy floats in, the two girls stop making out, and one of the girls and this guy start making out. And then another guy comes in. They stop making out. The two girls go back to making out. And then the two guys started making out. Because there, again, even though you're not in heaven, you still have let go of a lot of this crap. And I mean, when you're still here on Earthbound, you still have your pain, anger, sorrow, grief, and guilt. But there's no jealousy there. There's none of that crap there. So they're just making out. And then I said to them, man, this looks like one big giant spirit orgy, and I'm not invited. Why don't you guys get a room? And then they all turned around from making out and did this. And I said, yeah, there's a voice coming from the light. My name's Daniel, and I'm here to cross you over. Does anybody want to go over? And they all looked at me, and one of them said, no thanks. I said, what do you mean, no thanks? He said, we don't want to go. We got friends here. We're all friends. We just want to be here. We don't want to go there. We might have to come back. And I was like, yeah, well, that's just part of it. And they said, we don't want to. So we'll stay here. We're okay. I was like, all right, so you don't want to cross? He said, no. And then one of them said, there's no rules here. We can do whatever we want. And I was like, what do you mean by that? He said, well, if I want to bother somebody over there, I can. And I was like, oh. He said, you go over there. That doesn't happen. And I was like, well, it's because it's all about love and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, I don't want none of that. I'm fine where I'm at. I was like, okay. And then they all just kind of turned around and went the other way.
So, what are the things that you tell these spirits that are stuck in between? Either just in case there's any spirits watching right now. How do you cross them over? What is it? What is it they need to know in case I mean, is it true? Some people die in their sleep. Some people are not expecting to die. They die in a car accident.
You know what everybody does?
What is it?
They all die.
So when they do die, though,
You
is
just
it?
die. There's no unexpected dying. There's no he died unexpectedly, or he died too soon, or I can't believe he died. Guess what? Everybody dies.
Do
Everybody you know is going to die. Their body dies, but their soul does not.
do they
Soul,
recognize that at one point I'm dead,
yes, they,
or is
they
there something?
absolutely know. Now, some of them don't. Animals a lot of times don't, but most people do.
Or is it more of a refusal? Like, I can't. No, there's no
No,
way I'm dead.
the refusal part comes that they don't want to walk into the light and they just remain here for their own reasons. They just don't want to go. They're afraid, or they're just, again, they feel like they know, because when you wake up out of your body, you get all the perfect memories. You'll get all the perfect memories from your life here, but you get all the memories from all your other 27 lives that you've been here. And then when you know you've been here 28 times, you may say to yourself, shit, if I've been here 28 times, I might have to come back a 29th time. I don't want to come back 29 times. I'll just hang out here. I'm not going into that light, because if I go in there, I might have to come back again. I'll just stay here. And when you do that, light goes out and then you're right there. And that's it. But
Nice.
what they don't understand is they can cross over anytime they want to. Some of them understand it, but most of them don't. And I tell them that. I say, you can go over anytime. I had two guys come in front of me one time. I was in my bedroom laying there. I see them come up, and one guy goes, they knew exactly what it was. And he goes, you going to go in? And he's like, no, man, I can't go in. He goes, why not? He goes, oh, because I murdered two people. And I was sitting there going, what the fuck did he just say? He murdered two people. I'm thinking, holy shit. And he goes, well, I'm going to go in. So he went in. A big flash went off in my room. And he's just standing there. And I said, hey, buddy. And he looked at me. And I was like, yeah, my name's Daniel. I'm a human just like you are. I said, but I'm the light. Do you want to cross over? He said, no. I said, why not? He said, well, because I killed two people. I said, whatever you did throughout your life is what you were supposed to do. Those people were supposed to die. Everyone's going to die. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And when it's their time to go, it is. If they die in a car crash, it's because it was their time to go. That's it. So if you want to cross over, all you have to do is want to cross over. And that's what I tell them all. If you want to cross over, you have to want to. But you have to be able to let go of all your pain, your anger, sorrow, grief, guilt. You got to let go of all that human stuff. And he said, I can't. He said, I know I did something wrong. I said, but you didn't do anything wrong. I'm here to tell you that. Why wouldn't you know I would know that, being this? Because there's only one, and that's me. So I know all this stuff. You can cross if you want to. And he said, I'll think about it, maybe later. And that's when I told him, as I tell them all now, you don't have much time. And he said, what do you mean? I said, once I pass away, that's it. This light goes out. It's done. And he said, what do you mean by that? I said, it's done. There's only going to be one more chance. After you see my light go out and you see it go black completely, you're going to see one more light come, where that's when everybody has a chance to go. And he said to me, you mean like end of times? And I said, yes. And he said, oh, I guess I'll wait for that. I said, okay.
We'll go together, he said.
Maybe.
He wants a personal escort.
Maybe, because he's going to give everybody at that point will be given, because end of times is coming. And when it does
humanity, all over.
Yeah, humanity will be done. And then what will happen at that point, just like it says in the Bible, but not really in the Bible, 114,000, no, everybody. Everyone will rise up out of their bodies at that point and move on. You're moving to a higher consciousness, but not in the sense what we think the higher consciousness is. Because when you leave here and you go to heaven, no one becomes an angel right away. When you hear people say, oh, my grandmom's an angel, no, she's not. In order to become an angel, it takes a very long time. And yet there's a bigger commitment there. And that commitment is when you go into that light, you can still do what I said these other ones do. You can make out, you're having sex, you can do all this stuff still. It's still different, but you can still do it because it's all about love. But in order to be angel status, you have to let all of that go, because you're all you're doing at that point is just you're all about helping all the time. So
So
you have to let all of that go in order to, and it takes a long time. My wife has a spirit guide. His name is Father Michael, and he was around when religion began, and he's been gone since then. And he's on his way to becoming an angel. And for us, that's been like 4,000 or 5,000 years.
wow.
And he's still trying to become an angel. He's still working towards that. But
Well,
I have one guide. Her name is Helen, who touches me. She was an Egyptian princess, and she had so many hard lives that she got to that point, and they asked her, and she said yes, and now she's an angel now.
so these spirit guides are the ones who are able to communicate with certain people, including, or are they only you, or is there certain people that they can communicate with, or does everybody have their own?
Everybody has their ability is different. Um, Everybody's ability is different. Like I said, I don't communicate directly with your mom and dad per se.
Yeah.
I may see them, or they may come through and tell me something. Like a few months ago, I was at a car show, and the bartender there, I just sit there and drink a Pepsi, and the bartender knows me, and we talk about this stuff all the time. She likes me to stay late because at nighttime I see more things. And she said, "Do you see anything?" And I said, "Yeah, I see this guy in front of me with this white beard, and he's got glasses on, but he's got them on top of his head, and he keeps pointing at him like this to show me he's got his glasses on top of his head." And she said, "Do you get a name?" I said, "I don't normally get names." And then all of a sudden it came in. I said, "Yeah, his name is James." I said, "His name is James." And she said, "Is he here for anybody?" I said, "He's actually here for these two people down the end of the bar, but he's here for the guy more than her." And she said, "Well, you think I should go tell him?" I said, "Well, if you want to go tell him, go ahead. If you don't want to, I'll walk down there." She said, "No, let me see what happens." I said, "All right." She goes down, and within a minute, I hear the wife go, "Oh, you mean Jim?" And I yelled down, "Yeah, Jim, but his name is James." And I get up and I walk down there. I say, "Hi, my name's Daniel Jackson, otherwise known as Spirit Medium Daniel. I see dead people." And when I say that, it breaks it up for them a little bit. And they said, "Yeah, Jim." And I said, "Yeah, but his name is James." I said, "He's got white hair. He's got glasses he's got a little bit of hair on top. He's gone kind of bald." And her husband starts thumbing through his phone, and he picks it up. And he goes, "Is he in this picture?" And I said, because he wanted to see if I knew who I was talking about. I said, "Yeah, he's that guy on the right." He said, "Yeah, that's my friend Jim. He died 2 years ago." He said him and I we're into racing. I said we have a race car, and I was in it with him. He taught me everything I've known since I was a kid, and we hung out together all the time. He said, "Why is he here?" I said, "He's here to be a spirit guide for you." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, he's here to help you make decisions in your life, to get you through your life the best you can." He said, "Well, I don't think I'm going to be here much longer." I said, "No, that's not the truth." He said, "How old?" I said, "You're not going to check out until you're 73, but that's not the point." So, and he's like, "What?" I said, "Don't worry about it." So talking to him, and I said, "Jim is here to help you make decisions. You can ask him." And I told him how to do that. You talk to him, tell him to show you the sign that you know he can show you that you'll pick up on, like the angel numbers and stuff like that, but it's something different. I said, "Tell him this is what you want him to show you. He'll show it, and then he'll connect with your soul, which will get your body to turn around and pick it up." And that's how you can ask him questions. He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "So if you wanted to buy a red car, you can say, 'Jim, I want to buy this red car. Show me the sign that I know to go buy the red car.'" And he said, "Okay." And if he shows you a sign, it's like a race car, and you hear about a race car, or you see something that says race car, or you see a race car on TV or something like that, and you see this 3 or 4 or 5 times throughout the day, that means go buy the red car. If you don't see anything, then don't buy the red car. But what it also doesn't mean is if you buy the red car, don't take some of the money and go buy some jewelry with it too, or some more car parts. Just buy the red car. If you try to use it and turn it around and use your free will to manipulate it, it's going to go south on you. And he goes, "Yeah, every time I've tried to do something like that in my life, it does go south on me." I said, "Yeah, why? Because you're using your free will, your ego to do it. So don't do that. Jim's here to help you make better decisions." And he said, "Why is he here for me?" I said, "Because he says you're his son." And he looked at me and he started crying. And I said, I said, why are you crying? And he said, and his wife started crying. And he said, every time we were out with Jim, every time I was with him somewhere and we were with other people, he would tell everybody I'm his son, but
Wow.
I'm not his son. He's not my dad. I said, in some way or shape or form, he is. And he still believes that you're his son. So he's here to help you. I said, but that's not the important part. And I said, what's the important part? I said, when you go to heaven, heaven is 100,000 times better than you can ever imagine it is. You can't imagine what it's actually like. We like to think it's some type of oasis, but it's not. It's much more than that. And when you leave here, you get to go there and do whatever you want. People always come to me and say, hey, can I talk to my mom and dad? Your mom and dad may not want to talk to you because they're living in heaven right now doing what they want to do. They want to be able to live their lives. Do you want anybody telling you how to live your life? He said, no. I said, neither do they. And they want to live their lives the way they want. They're not waiting around to wait for somebody like me to give you a freaking message. They're not sitting around with their thumb up their ass trying to tell you something. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they're living in heaven doing what they want to do. He said, oh. I said, but Jim decided to skip that. Do you
Wow.
understand what that means? And he said, I said, instead of going to heaven, he skipped it to come back here and be with you. And that's when she just burst out in tears. And
Wow.
I turned around, all the bartenders were all standing there and they're all doing this. And then I looked at the bartender, as I say to everybody, and I say, I can't make this shit up.
No shit.
How the hell would I know some guy named Jim who says this
It's
is his
just
son all the time? I can't. I can't know that.
wow, Daniel. Man, so much more, man. I wish I could talk to you for another 24 hours.
You have me on anytime you want, Abel, and we'll come back on and we'll do it live again because
There's a lot of topics to touch, man, and
there
I,
are.
I feel that we have the same purpose.
We do.
A lot of these podcasts that are out there, they're out there, monetary gain, and really,
Not me.
really, really, this conversation is a whole different level, man. What I want to know right now, like just the last words, man. If there's anything humanity needs to know, right? If anybody is watching this video and we don't know we're about to die tonight, what is it about life that we need to just carry on to, to be able to be great, to be able to live that purpose that we're meant to live? What can you give us, after being here so many, 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 many years? Enlighten us on the pathway of life. What is it that we is necessary for us to be able to move on in the future into the light?
The first thing,
The first
stop,
thing.
stop judging each other. Because here's the thing when you're standing in front of someone and you're looking at them and you're about to judge them, before you do that, take a self inventory of yourself and think of all the crap you've gone through in your entire life. And then look at them and think, you know what? They probably have some crap going on in their lives too. What right do I have to judge them? You don't. And then you
None.
bite your tongue and then you walk away. Because we are all equal in this world. We all came from the same place. There's nothing that is different about us other than the color of our skin, and that's no difference about us. We are all a beautiful white light soul within us. We all came from the same place. We can all go back to that same place if we choose. We are all equal. We need to stop treating each other so horribly. We all live on the same planet. No one is going anywhere anytime soon. We better start to get along with each other before we annihilate each other. Stop segregating ourselves from ourselves. Stop putting up walls. Stop putting up barriers. This is one big giant world melting pot of human beings living a life, learning your lessons, fulfilling your purpose. We need to work together to help each other, to live together, to share everything in the world because there's enough of everything in the world for every single person. There's no need for power and control. And until we do that, when we do that, we will all learn to work together and take care of each other. At that point, we will release from our bodies and we will all move on to our higher consciousness. But until that moment happens, we're going to be doing the same thing we're doing now, screwing up. Let's do better. Let's take care of each other. Let's be nice to each other. Let's be wonderful to each other. Because we are all brothers and sisters. We all come from the same family soul family. We are all from the soul family. I'm not from, your mom and dad is not really your mom and dad. They just helped produce the body. It's the soul that came from the soul family. That's where we came from. You are not here from here. You are from there. We come here to learn lessons, fulfill a purpose. We will all go back there if you choose. And you will meet up with everyone else. You won't go home and just see the 200 or 300 people you met here. When you get home, you know everybody. And they know you. You will release all this pain, anger, sorrow, grief, and guilt. Why do you have to release it then? Why can't we just release it now? Let it go. My favorite 3 words, let it go, because you don't need it.
And Daniel, we'll let it go, Daniel. It's been a pleasure having you on tonight. Let's stick around backstage for like a few other minutes. Everybody who tuned in, awesome. And believe it, there has to be a part 2 to this one. So everybody watching, peace out. Thank you for tuning in.